Hi, I'm Ellen from the Chili Dog. Today I'm binding off one of my crab walk socks and I'd like to show you how to do an Icelandic bind off. This technique works well for edges that may need a little extra flexibility like lace or in my case a sock cuff. Be aware, this bind off is fussier than many other techniques, but in my opinion, the almost cord-like finish is well worth the effort. Let's get started. To begin binding off, knit one stitch, and then without removing the right hand needle, slip that new stitch back to the left needle. Insert the right needle tip knitwise through the next stitch and pull that stitch through the new stitch you just made. Knit the stitch that's on your right hand needle. And then drop both loops off of the left hand needle. And repeat. Slip the stitch that's on the right needle to the left needle without dropping it off. Insert your right needle knitwise through the next stitch. Pull that stitch through the new stitch. Knit the stitch that's on your right hand needle and pull the yarn through. And you can see how it's kind of fussy there as you're pulling that yarn through the stitch. And then drop both stitches off the left needle. And one last time, return the stitch to the left needle, insert knitwise and pull the next stitch through, knit the stitch on the right needle, and drop both loops off the left needle. And you continue on in this manner until you have bound off all your stitches. When I get to the end, I'm going to do the same thing with these last couple stitches. I'll slip my new stitch, pull the next stitch through, knit, and drop both loops off the left needle. And then if I was working flat back and forth in rows, I could just pull the working yarn through this last loop and tighten things up. But since I am working in the round, I'd like to just close up this tiny little jog in my bound off edge before I finish off this loop. So I'm just going to cut my yarn and leave a tail long enough to weave in later. I'll thread that tail onto a yarn needle. And now I'm going to carefully close up that little gap. So I'm going to bring my yarn needle here between the first two stitches that I bound off from the back to the front. And then up through that final loop and tighten everything up, and that minimizes any jog there at the join. And then I can just weave in my yarn tail on the wrong side of my stitches to finish up. I hope you enjoyed learning how to do the Icelandic bind off. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your knitting friends. If you'd like to try this technique in a pattern, head over to the shop section of thechillydog.com and look for my crab walk socks. Until we stitch again, happy knitting!